The next item on the agenda is item 10. Support the Chief Finance Officer, Chief Officer Finance performance change on related party transactions. I think Caris, you're taking us to this. Yeah. Over to you, Caris. Thanks.
Many thanks, Mr. Mayor. Just for the purpose of the recording, I'm Caris Lord. I'm the Chief Officer for Finance, Performance and Change. The purpose of the report is to inform Council of the requirement for elected members to formally declare any related party transactions for the current financial year by completing the declaration attached to Appendix A of your report, even if it is a nil return. And this must be completed by Friday, the 8th of April 2022. The authority completes an annual statement of accounts, and as part of this process, the Council is required to provide information of arrangements and all transactions where elected members or close members of their families have a significant influence over organisations that the Council has a relationship with, or that organisation is able to influence activities of the Council. This information is scrutinised by Audit Wales as part of their annual audit of the Statement of Accounts, and they have recommended that the Council should remind all councillors of the importance of completing and submitting their annual related party return by that deadline. Therefore, Mr. Mayor, this report is to inform members of this requirement to complete the declaration that's attached to Appendix A. And it is essential that it is completed as at the 31st of March and is returned by Friday, the 8th of April. I would refer members to the recommendations of Section 9 of this report. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Caris. Could I have a mover and seconder of the recommendations in the report, please?
Move, Mr. Second.
Moved and seconded, thank you. Any members have any questions? No indications? If not, no, I take it Debbie's happy with the report. We moved and seconded, and all in favour. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you, Caris, for that. Item 10, moved, seconded, and approved. Thank you. And we now move on to item 11, and that comes petition scheme. And Kelly's taking this one, I think. Yep, Kelly, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the purposes of the recording, my name is Kelly Watson, Chief Officer, Legal, Regulatory, HR and Corporate Governance. And members, the purpose of this report is to seek Council approval and adoption of a petition scheme which is attached to your papers at Appendix 1. The Local Government and Election Wales Act 2021 places a specific duty on authorities to put in place a petition scheme by May 2022. Petitioning is one way individuals, community groups and organisations can participate in the democratic process. The purpose of this scheme is to establish a clear process for petitions submitted to the Council to be handled in accordance with the relevant legislation. Members will note that the scheme contains a significant amount of guidance for potential petitioners to enable them to complete the petition in accordance with the legislative requirements. The scheme provides that if a petition has received more than 750 signatures, it will be considered for debate at full Council. It is worth noting, members, that the draft scheme has been considered by group leaders and has been amended to reflect their input. I therefore take you to the recommendations of paragraph 9. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Kelly. Have a mover and seconder for the report, please.
Move, second, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Some question with Councillor Paul Davis, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I don't really state a question, but just like to say I welcome this report because I've had a couple of petitions in my time as a councillor, and it was pretty unclear at times what to do with these petitions, and I'm glad there's clarity now, so everybody knows what, if they get a petition to them, what to do with it, and etc. etc. I welcome the report, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Councillor Davis. Yep, welcome. Councillor Ross Sturman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My question revolves around page 145 on our documents, and it's slightly different to the way Welsh Government do their petitions. For a Welsh Government petition, you need a name, a full signature, a date and a postcode. Now, on here, it looks as if you're saying, please ensure each signature has given a valid address and postcode. Why do they need the address? Because if you're standing around trying to get people to sign a petition, they're not going to take the time to write their whole address. They're happy to put their postcode, but they really don't want to, well, in my experience, they don't. I actually have a current petition with Welsh Government, so I've got quite a few signatures on mine. But it is a question that I would like an answer for, please.
Okay, Kelly, can you clarify, please?
Thank you, Councillor Sturman. There are some legislative requirements in the Act which state what information we need. And obviously our scheme is designed to cover people who work, study or live in the borough. There is a provision for the scheme to be reviewed regularly. So my suggestion would be that we proceed as it is now. And if it proves to be problematic, people providing their address, then we can address that at the first review.
Okay, that suits me. Thank you very much, Kelly.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Sturman. Councillor Alex Williams next, please.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I also welcome the report, and obviously as a group leader, I welcome the early engagement from Kelly and her team with group leaders. Just one question, which I did mention to group leaders when we were considering this report, was the use of our own system through mod.gov rather than the more established change.org, which many petitioners will be already familiar with. Now, I understand the reasoning behind why we can't use that system, but if, for example, a current petition was live on change.org, is there any way in which we don't have to start that process again, and we would be able to accept change.org petitions as a, in their entirety, so that we can integrate them in some way rather than having to collect signatures or the community members collecting signatures again for our own system? Thanks.
Okay. Kelly?
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Williams. I did raise this with IT when you flagged it up in the group leaders meeting, and I'm not very technologically minded, but they did give an explanation of why the two systems don't integrate together. It is something we can keep exploring, and I think Mike Pittman is on the call, so if you need further clarity, I'm sure Mike can drop you an email and he can explain it to you much clearer than I can.
Thanks, Kelly. Yeah, if that could take place outside the meeting, the technical info. Thank you. Councillor Amanda Williams next.
Thanks very much. Likewise, a similar question to Councillor Alex Williams is if you've got a partial online petition and then a paper one, because not everyone is online, particularly where I live in the village, there's a lot of elderly people who don't have the internet. Are we able to then submit a joint, well, not me, but is anyone able to submit a joint petition where they've got some via the system and then some via paper signatures?
Thank you, Councillor Williams. Yes, we'll accept. So if there's a submission online, when the paper signatures then come in, we'll obviously marry them up together and make sure that all the signatories are counted as one.
Thank you, Kelly, for that. That's good. Councillor Donald Dendy next.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's kind of come off the point from Councillor Sturman, really. Is there any leeway in terms of not providing an address if somebody, for say, was wanting to sign a petition who had no fixed abode, or whether if it was a case of they felt that it would be unsafe for them to provide an address, although they might agree with the petition putting forward? Is there anything kind of like to do with that at all?
Thank you, Councillor Dendy. There is some discretion in the policy for myself as monitoring officer to make allowances, and in those circumstances, if somebody contacts me, I can. Part of the reasoning for the requirements to have addresses is so that we can verify that they are genuine signatures, because I think there has been some instances in the past, not in Bridgend, where petitions have been submitted to agencies and they have then found out that a number of the signatories are not valid. but obviously I have got discretion. So if you're aware of people who are in those circumstances, I'd be happy for them to contact me and we can look at alternative ways.
Thank you.
Great, thank you, Kelly, for that. No further indications or anybody have anything to speak? It's been moved and seconded. Take it all in favour. Nobody indicating otherwise. Okay, so that item 11, that petition scheme, that's approved. We move on to item 12, and I think it's yourself, Kelly, again. Item 12, independent remuneration panel. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The purpose of this report, members, is to advise of the annual report of the Independent Remuneration Panel for Wales. In respect of the level and the range of remuneration, the authority must make available to its elected members for the 2022-23 municipal year. This is the 14th annual report of the Remuneration Panel, and they issued the draft report for consultation in September 2021. The draft was considered by our Democratic Services Committee on the 21st of October 2021, and some comments were fed back to the panel. The panel's determinations are shown at Annex 1 of the Remuneration Panel report. The key elements of the report are set out in your council report from paragraph 4 onwards. Members will note that salaries for elected members are set out in determination 2, and other determinations in the report relate, amongst other matters, to pension provision, payments for the cost of care and arrangements for family absence for members. These are set out in detail in the report before you. Members, due to the elections in May this year, the provisions in this report will come into effect from the 9th of May 2022. And for the period the 1st of April to the 8th of May, the determinations from the 2021-22 report will continue to apply. Mr. Mayor, I'm happy to take questions, and I would take members to the recommendations of paragraph 9.
Thank you, Kelly. Member can see the recommendations. Do you have a mover and second of the report first, please?
Move, Mr. Mayor. Second.
Thank you. That's recommendation moved and seconded. Any members have any questions? Councillor Alex Williams.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Just on a point of clarification, I spoke to the leader earlier on and he seemed to suggest that this wasn't the appropriate time to raise it because we're just setting the salary levels. But can you just remind me, Kelly, when the opportunity arises to consider which chairs receive senior salaries? Is that at the AGM?
Yes, Councillor Williams, that will be at the AGM.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other members? Any questions, queries? All quiet. Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All in favour? Or see nothing? I take it all in favour. Okay. Thank you for that. That's moved, seconded, and that report be moved. Item 12. That's approved. Item 13 next. Reports for noting. I think it's Kelly, back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members, the purpose of this report is to draw to your attention information reports which have been published since your last scheduled meeting. These reports are set out in paragraph 4.1 of your report. They relate to an urgent delegated decision and budget 2022-23. I therefore ask members to note the publication of those reports. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mover and second of the report, please. Recommendation.
Note the report, Mr. Mayor. Second, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All in favour of that?
Aye.
All quiet? Yep, no indications. Okay, moved and seconded. That report's approved. Item 13. Thank you, Kelly. We're now moving on to item 14. We have questions from Councillor Altaf Hussain. I think Councillor Hussain's here. Yeah, Councillor Hussain, your question has been put and you've received a response. Right? If you have a supplementary.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Can I just remember any other members? There'll be a chance for 2 further supplementaries, but they'll be after. I'll indicate when it's time to indicate if you'd like to ask a supplementary after Councillor Hussain's that is supplementary. Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Yes, I received the reply from the deputy leader and I'm grateful. Now I have a small question, really. I don't want to take more time, but I might get say something after this question, really. How many freelancers in Bridgend had applied for financial grant so far? How many have received £250 grant and what business have they started with this sum? And is the grant now closed for new applicants? That's my question, sir. But I might be able to also say something to thank you, Mr. Mayor, and to thank all my colleagues. You know, in the council, they were great, very respectful, and I will miss them. My thanks to the management team, management staff, especially under the leadership of our great Chief Executive, Mark Sheffers, and also our Democratic Services under the leadership of Kelly Watson. I'm very grateful. I enjoyed my years, and I wish you all the best. Also, at the end, to yourself, Mr. Mayor, and I don't want to miss my dear friend, Hugh David. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Singh, and all the best for the future for yourself. Take care. Councillor Leader, you taking response to Councillor David?
Yes, apologies. I know it isn't technically well, it isn't a question. I just, as it is the last meeting, there are too many colleagues to thank personally who are stepping down, and I'll be sad to see colleagues leave, the ones who are planning on retiring and the ones who aren't planning on retiring but may be retiring whether they want to or not in May. Can I just say that it has been a privilege and an honour to serve this term. We're not just colleagues, many of us are friends, and I believe on the whole we've been working as one council. We've been very constructive, and even when there's been the occasional spat in the chamber, I think we've kept it good mannered and respectful, and we've all, whatever part of the chamber we sit in virtually, we have all looked to serve the different communities of Bridgend County Borough and do our best for the different communities of the county borough. And I hope that ethos and that shared endeavour continues, whoever is elected in May. And I wanted to personally thank as well, and I'm sure this goes for all members, very much in a similar vein to Councillor Hussain. I wanted to thank all our staff, from the Chief Executive down to the care worker and the highways assistant and the school crossing patrol officer and the classroom support assistant. We have a brilliant set of staff in Bridgend County Borough Council. We can be exceptionally proud of what they've done, particularly during the pandemic, and I hope that is included in the minutes, because they do deserve our gratitude and our respect, and it's been a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you all again, even if it's not in this chamber, but perhaps socially. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Leader. Can I go back to the agenda? We're all quit. The opportunity, Leader, for that was item 6. It was your announcements. Unfortunately, we are on item 14, receiving following the question from Councillor Hussain. I was the Deputy Leader or Cabinet Member Communities. I'm not sure if one was able to respond to the question put, or the supplementary question. Are either able to respond to the question?
Shall I come in then?
Please, Councillor.
I think it'd be wise if we send Councillor Hussain a written answer.
Yeah.
And can I take advantage to say thank you, Altaf, for those kind words. I do miss seeing you in person. When you always used to pop into the office to say hello, so you are missed. I am hoping to be back as a councillor. I'll be disappointed if I don't represent Llangolwedd and Bryn Hafod, but it's no secret I won't be applying for a cabinet position, so this is my last time as a cabinet member. But I will still be, I hope, on the backbenches where I can annoy people and cause mischief. But all the best, Altaf.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Councillor Smith. Right, can we please stick to the agenda We'll be all day,
Yeah.
everybody. We want to say
Yeah.
thanks. And I'm not sure if Councillor Baldwin wanted it did pop up. Councillor Baldwin, if you wanted to, we just agreed we'll do a written response. I think
That's all I was going to say, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, great.
And while I've got the opportunity, no,
Oh.
I'm only joking. I'm not going to do that.
Thank you. Thank you for respecting the agenda. Where we are. Right, we have the opportunity of 2 supplementary questions. If any members would like to ask a supplementary. There's no indications or. Nope. Okay, so there's no further supplementary questions. Councillor Singh, do you want to finish off?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I will put this question in writing to the deputy leader, and probably I might get a written reply. But at the same time, I want to make one play, really. One of the great personalities of BCBC, Peter Bismayer, he has retired, I think, yesterday. So he has been such a great person who has been looking after Bridgend every time, whatever weather, whatever the condition. And we will, as a resident of Panaway, I will miss him. And it is to the leader and to chief executive, I want to say that he, conveys my thanks to him. And I'm sure every councillor will be speaking about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Singh. Take care in the future.
Thank you.
Right, that's the end of item 14. Thank you, Councillor Singh. Item 15, urgent items. I have not been notified of any urgent items, so there's nothing further to say on item 15. It just leaves me now to say thank you all for your cooperation and participation, or not just the last year, but the last since May 2017. So many thanks to everybody. Some of us will, it's down to the public to decide who will return to the chamber, hopefully not the virtual chamber, maybe the hybrid chamber on May the 18th. People who decide in the next elections, let them now decide who will sit in that chamber from May the 18th. So many thanks all. It's gone on. We're now almost 6 o'clock, so we've got a 3-hour meeting. Thank you all, everybody, and take care and all the best for the future.